Welcome into SportBet Extra. I'm your host, Paul Rami, here every Tuesday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central. Today's November 26, 2025. Yesterday, we did not have a show. I had a scheduling conflict, but hey, we are here today, the day before Thanksgiving. We will also have a show tomorrow morning on Thanksgiving to get all of you ready for the NFL action that's going to be happening on Thanksgiving while you're with your family, being able to get all your bets in after your turkey bowl, everything that you've got going on. I'll be here Thursday. And then Friday, I will try to be here. Depending on another scheduling conflict, we may see what's going to happen. But we're here today and tomorrow for sure. What a great week of college basketball. Feast week. Man, it is so fun watching all these teams play. Lots of action. Yesterday, we had an even day, 2-2. So let's get to the record. We're going to cover that. We're going to cover some college basketball. We're going to talk CFP as the rankings came out. So let's just get into this great, wonderful show that we've got going on today. So let's start with our record. Overall, again, I've been putting this up for everybody to see, be as transparent as possible. Overall, 20 and 17, I'm sorry, plus 20.17 units there, $100 better. You're up $2,017. This is since mid-October, just about a month that we've been back here on the show. October 21st, I believe, is when we started again. So since then, 59% win rate. We are also doing 15 and 8 in the NBA, 40 and 23 in college basketball. That's some bread and butter right there. College basketball, NBA, those two are my favorite sports to bet and to watch. MLB, again, we finished there 3-0, just as we had a few bets going on during the World Series. NFL has been okay, 8-8 there. We haven't been getting too oversaturated with bets. We just try and get in whenever we do find a good spot that we like. College football there, 5-10. We came back a little bit. We were 3-10-1. We won 2 games on Saturday, moved us up to 5-10-1. So we're improving there a little bit college football as we continue to look forward and try and improve that record before the season ends. So overall, plus 20.17 units. Yesterday, as I said, we went 2-2. Baylor, plus 6. Lost there. St. John's looked very good defensively, very good offensively. You're going to be a tough team. They usually are now with Pitino there coaching. Love them in the future there to maybe do something come March. Syracuse plus 4.5. Terrible call by me there. That was another loss as Kansas had no issue taking care of business there. Kansas actually looks pretty good even without Darren Peterson. So when he does come back from injury, they're definitely going to be a squad to watch. That's going to be a fun team, Kansas, as they continue to roll past teams there. Iowa minus 4.5. Win there. They win by 5. So we just get the win on Iowa late. They get the cover. And then the late night game, San Diego State against Oregon. San Diego State plus 2.5. No problem there. They win. They cover that easily. As underdogs, San Diego State plus 2.5. So yesterday was 2-2. Again, college basketball there, one of our best records so far as we are 40 and 23. That's where we're at overall. Again, we will continue to track this. You can always check this updated on sportbetextra.com. I will always have it up there as well. That's where you're going to get all my plays. Again, once the show is over, go get a free trial, 7-day trial there. Then after that, you can get another week package. You can sign up for the month package. You can sign up for the 3-month package, whatever you prefer. Hop in there, get all of my plays. So that's what we've got for the overall record. We're going to go ahead and talk some college football real quick, just to talk about last night when they announced the rankings. So let's put that up here for everyone to take a look at. Not much has changed. We talked about this on Saturday and we had a good long conversation about this here. You can see top four, no change there. Ohio State remains number one. Now we get into the fun conversation. What if? What if Michigan wins this game? What kind of mayhem is that going to cause? We know Ohio State would stay in, but now you've got to consider, where does Michigan come into play? With that type of record, if we look back at just kind of what they have done, I mean, you've got to consider Michigan. If they end up going 10-2 here, their only losses were there against Oklahoma. That was on the road. And then USC there, again, another game on the road. Two tough teams. So do we now have to consider Michigan for the college football playoff? If they're able to pull that upset, they're 9.5-point underdogs. Not likely, but also what's Ohio State's motivation to win this one? You're already in, but again, these teams, they're going to play. They're not going to just give up and just be, don't worry about it now. They're going to stay prepared, stay sharp as they get into the CFP. So Ohio State, fun game to watch against Michigan. That'll definitely be one that we've got to tune into. Again, Indiana shouldn't have any problem. They've got Purdue coming up there. A&M, now we got to talk about too. They've got Texas. So what if Texas wins? I don't think Texas is going to be in consideration. I just don't think they've done enough. Even if they do pull off an upset against A&M, I don't see them getting into the playoff here. That will be a fun one to watch, as well as A&M continues to stay in that number 3 spot. Georgia, number 4 there. Going to be a fun game against Georgia Tech. I don't think Georgia Tech really has any shot here now against Georgia. So that one should be solidified there. Georgia should be good at the number 4 spot. Texas Tech, they've got West Virginia they're going to visit this week. They'll maintain that number 5 spot. I don't see any change there as well. And then we've got Oregon, we talked about on Saturday. You know what? I've been waiting for this team to slip up, and I finally accepted the fact they're not going to. They're going to be a tough team to beat. Oregon, as much as I've wanted to kind of not believe in them this year, I have to. They look good at Washington to end the season. They should stay up there at the number 6 spot. Ole Miss here at number 7. Again, no reason they should move down at Mississippi State. As long as they go and handle business, they should be good there. Oklahoma, looking at them, number 8 spot. They're 9-2. Versus LSU, could be a letdown. I don't think so. I think they finish strong. Oklahoma maintains that number 8 spot. And then you've got Notre Dame there at the number 9, who has Stanford, who they're going to be visiting this weekend. Alabama at the 10 spot. Iron Bowl against Auburn. You never know. If Auburn pulls this off, then now we've got to really consider, what do we do with Alabama? CFP without Alabama. How crazy is that, right? No Alabama. Could you imagine if they don't make it in? I don't know. Would be tough. And then you've got there Miami, number 11, Tulane at number 12. Of course, Tulane getting in as the 5th conference championship winner there. Very interesting how it's going to play out. I know they're predicting Miami there still may not even get in. So this is very interesting. We still have pretty much this last week is going to determine a lot of what's going to happen here as we get close to the college football playoff 12-team bracket here. Going to be a lot of fun. I would love to see A&M win this thing. That's just, again, I've been very high on them this year. I know the weeks past it's been kind of shaky. Obviously, that big comeback against South Carolina, games they really should have won with no problem. They had an issue, and then games that they should have had some struggles against, they won with no problem. So Texas A&M, scares me a bit, but I like them to just somehow get through and get to the national championship game. That's our college football playoff. Just kind of overview here, looking at that 12-team bracket. Again, we'll talk more about that if we do have our Friday show. Again, depending on scheduling conflict, what we've got going on, we'll try and get that one on Friday. Let's get now to some college basketball. Like I've talked about, this is feast week. This is one of the best weeks of college basketball. So many games going on, so many tournaments all over the place. Obviously, Players Era Festival, incredible teams playing. We'll talk about the championship game that's going to be happening this evening as well. But one tournament that I want to talk about that's starting today, it doesn't really get a lot of love, but it does have some interesting games. It's going to be the Battle for Atlantis. Let's pull up here real quick just to take a look at this tournament schedule. Game one, we've got Western Kentucky versus Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt currently laying the 18.5 here. I mean, two undefeated teams off in the first game of the tournament. Obviously, Western Kentucky has not played any team that is really worth a damn season, so this will be their first true test. They do not shoot the three much, nor do they shoot it well, which is going to be a major problem, especially if they get behind early. On top of that, what Vanderbilt does very well is they space the floor on offense with their size, and they can shoot. The only chance Western Kentucky would have here is to get the rebound and push the ball up at the quick pace, because once Vanderbilt is set on defense, it's going to be very tough for Western Kentucky to score against their length. I just think Vanderbilt, they're going to be too much offensively, being able to score from all levels that Western Kentucky just won't be able to stop. I would lean Vanderbilt even at this big number here, but not confidently. Is it one of those games, first game, early game, maybe get off to a slow start, maybe kind of a sloppy game. First half, kind of scary. They're only up by maybe 3 or 4, and then end the game winning by right on that number, maybe 16, somewhere around there. So I don't know if I'd be on Vanderbilt or on Western Kentucky. This one I would just probably stay away from, but big number there for this game. You can see winner of this one will take on the winner of VCU and South Florida. That is going to be an interesting game. I talked about this VCU team earlier when they played NC State about how good they are defensively. VCU laying the 1.5 here against UCF. Like I mentioned, they focused on sides and scoring the offseason, and they continue to implement that defense-first style of play with that full court pressure. You have your up-tempo USF team against a slower-paced half-court VCU team, so who's going to win the battle there? I trust the guards for VCU a bit more to control the game and run it at their pace. The lack of depth will also be an issue for USF, as they only have a core 5 players that can score. So if those players get into any scoring, like any trouble scoring there or foul trouble, they don't have the scoring help that they're going to need from the bench. This absolutely will be a fun one to watch, and whoever does win this one will give Vanderbilt a better matchup than what Western Kentucky to do. I would lean VCU just because I think defensively they're going to suffocate USF. And I don't know if USF, they can handle that sort of pressure and where that scoring will come from if VCU is successful on the defensive end. Look for Vanderbilt VCU next matchup. That would be a fun one to watch tomorrow. On to the bottom half of that tournament, Colorado State, Virginia Tech. We talked about Virginia Tech earlier. They opened at a 3.5-point favorite, now already up to 5.5 points. This is the one time I'm pretty excited to watch, because this number, like I said, it kind of puzzles me. Overnight, when it was at 3.5, I'm not sure why it didn't open somewhere around the 5.5 or 6.5. We see it there now. I would take this maybe up to 7. I'd still be comfortable with Virginia Tech. Colorado State, they have not really been tested early on as far as the level of competition, so their numbers may be a little overinflated. Sure, they shoot almost 46% from 3, but that's not going to be the case here today. The length of Virginia Tech is going to be too much on the perimeter for Colorado State to be able to shoot against. I mean, if we just look at what Virginia Tech held their opponents' three-point shooting to the last 3 games, right? Bryant, 18%. Charlotte, 30%. St. Joe's, 18%. They're not allowing teams to shoot from the perimeter, which is what one of Colorado State's strengths is. Amani Hansberry should be good to go, which will give you more rebounding and scoring. I just think this is too tall of a task for Colorado State today covering this number. I would lean Virginia Tech here. Would be definitely a fun one to watch. Hopefully, Abdulas makes has a good game. Again, he's one of those players that I'm pretty high on. Love to watch him. He's that type of NBA player, that European player. He's got that style of play. Very fun to watch. Translates well to the college basketball game because they're not very used to it, so he can take advantage. Again, love Virginia Tech here. I don't know if I'll be on that one. However, if it does move to 6.5, 7, I don't see why they don't cover that as well. So I would probably just lean Virginia Tech. But again, I don't think I'll be having to play on that one. Last game in this bracket for today, Wichita State, St. Mary's. St. Mary's laying at 10.5. Now, Wichita State, they rely heavily on Kenyon Giles for any sort of scoring as he leads the team significantly with 19 points per game. I just don't think physically that Wichita State will be able to match up with St. Mary's. They're just too big and too experienced as you have massive core of returning players under coach Randy Bennett. They added only 2 players in the portal. So what does that tell you? You're only adding 2 players. That means you really trust the returning group of guys that you have. That should just tell you there alone how much this coach believes in his guys to step up. So far, starting the season 6-0 and just completely suffocating teams on defense. They move the ball well. They shoot lights out from 3. If I were to lay the points with any of these games in the battle for Atlantis, it would be this one here with St. Mary's. Lay it even up to a 15 and feel comfortable with that. I just don't believe Wichita State is going to match up physically. St. Mary's will just be too much for them defensively. We'll get to that play that we're going to give out at the end of the show. Most likely going to be St. Mary's, just depending on what the number is at. Again, it was at a 10.5 last time we checked. Most likely, if it's still around there, that'll be the play that we're taking is St. Mary's. That's it for the Battle of Atlantis. Going to be a fun tournament to watch. One other game. I know there's a lot we talked about going on the Players Era Festival. Lots of fun games to watch. The one that we're going to break down, because we could break down every single one of those. We just don't have that much time to talk about every single one of those games. The one, of course, that we have to talk about, though, is the championship game. Number 12, Gonzaga. Number 7, Michigan. Opened at a 1.5 in favor of Gonzaga, now at a 2.5. I know I am very high on Gonzaga this year, but this will absolutely be their toughest test of the season. I know Alabama was a great team, right? But Michigan matches up against Gonzaga much better than Alabama due to their size. What was Gonzaga's advantage? That was their size. Now it's an even playing field as Michigan's been playing very well on both the interior and the perimeter. With the addition of the size in the offseason that Michigan added, they went and they got a couple of 6'9" guys, Yaxel Lindenborg from UAB and Morris Johnson from Illinois. They can really space the floor. Michigan can. That's going to be tough for Gonzaga. And, of course, Mara, the 7'3" big who came over from UCLA, he gives the team just a big bolster in the interior. One of the many reasons why they're second in the nation in rebounding. The way Michigan can move the ball and already has these players, gelling is very impressive. And I would not be surprised here if they give Gonzaga a run for their money. Gonzaga just so good on every aspect of the game as they share the ball so well. They can score from any part of the floor. I mean, just sharing wise, we saw yesterday 30 assists against Maryland. Gonzaga is a very, very good team. I've talked to them about them early in the season. I know I'm high on this team. I'm excited to watch this championship game as we're going to get a preview of 2 teams that could easily make a run to the Elite Eight, maybe even the Final Four come March. If this number gets to a 3 or 3.5, I would be on Michigan. Very tough test for Gonzaga. I know they're capable of putting up big numbers and winning here against Michigan. I just think that matchup-wise, Michigan is going to be very tough against Gonzaga. Again, if it gets that 3.5 number, I would lean Michigan. Right now at that 2.5, I would just wait around and probably not get involved with this game. Again, as high as I am on Gonzaga, I'd probably have to go with Michigan here. That's all we're going to talk about for college basketball today. I know there's a lot of games. Syracuse, Iowa State, early, going to be a fun one. Iowa State should have no problem there. USC, Arizona State, USC with Chaz Baker-Mazara. That's always a fun team to watch. Notre Dame and Houston. Houston laying the big number 11.5 there. Again, we're not going to break all of these down. Kansas, Tennessee. Tennessee, a slight favorite there, -4.5. They looked very good against Houston. Other ones, St. John's, Auburn. I just don't think Auburn is a good team this year. I think they're a little bit fraudulent right now. St. John's laying the 6.5. I would lean towards them. NC State, Texas. I don't know about Texas this year. Again, I know they've kind of still got a lot to figure out as far as their squad and how they're going to gel together. And then Maryland, Alabama. Maryland, I just don't think they can handle the scoring that Alabama can put up. I would, if anything, I would just look at the over for that game. Both teams love to shoot the three. Over 165.5 would be the way I would go for the Maryland-Alabama game. Other than that, we're not going to get into any of those and really break them down. Transition to the NBA. I'm just going to talk really quick. We're not going to spend a lot of time. Pistons at Celtics. Pistons, slight favorite on the road. Not going to get involved there. Knicks and Hornets, again, small favorite, 6.5. I would just lean Knicks. Other ones, I'm not really interested. Like I said, today is more about college basketball. This week is more about college basketball. We are continuing to implement our NBA betting strategy. We do have a play coming up. If I can pull up the strategy, I believe it is the 28th, near the end of November. I can't remember exactly the two teams, if it's Timberwolves, who it is. But we'll talk about that more as that does come up into play, that NBA strategy. Currently 7-2 on that strategy. So if you're just betting that for the NBA season, you're up a good amount of units there. Again, we'll continue to take a look at that, and I'll talk about that more when it does come into play. That's all I've got for today's show. Real quick, let's get into ProfitX, sponsor here for the show. Get into some college basketball as we look at today's play of the day that we're going to be giving out. We're going to go back into the battle for Atlantis. We're going to find that St. Mary's game, see what that current number is against Wichita State. I'm seeing here a -10.5 and -1.6. That's where we're going. St. Mary's, let me get that locked in. -10.5, -106. That's our free play of the day. Again, get on sportsbetextra.com. Sportbetextra.com. You will see that there under the play of the day. Go subscribe. That'll be an easy one, hopefully, for us tonight. The rest of my plays, you will be on there as well. Go get your free trial. No harm, no foul. Just go get in, get you a free week, finish out Feast Week with us, finish out the weekend, see how it goes. And then after that, if we continue to make some money, sign up for the week, the month, the 3-month, or whatever you want to do there. SportBetExtra.com. All plays are posted there once the show is over, within 30 minutes to an hour. That's all we've got today. Good luck today and all your betting. Let's go. Happy Thanksgiving. I will be here tomorrow for a special Thanksgiving show